In 1948, a woman took the stand at a denazification tribunal with a bizarre defense. She insisted she was merely an apolitical wife, entirely naive and completely sheltered from the horrors of the Holocaust. This was Emmy Göring. She called herself the First Lady of the Third Reich, married to the second most powerful man in Nazi Germany. Her legal defense violently clashed with the reality of her lifestyle. She lived in a sprawling palace decorated with nearly 1,400 looted masterpieces. She wore custom silk evening gowns sewn by enslaved concentration camp prisoners and draped herself in jewelry stripped from murdered families. When a person lives at the absolute epicenter of a Holocaust and claims they saw nothing, we have to ask a difficult question. When does extreme, deliberate denial stop being a valid legal defense and start becoming a confession of complicity? To understand her guilt, we have to look at how she acquired her power. Before 1935, Emmy was a moderately successful prudential stage actress, but her marriage to Air Force Commander Hermann Göring was a highly coordinated state propaganda deployment. Adolf Hitler himself served as the best man. Fighter planes roared overhead in military formation, and tens of thousands of uniformed Nazis lined the streets of Berlin to celebrate the new bride. Because Hitler kept his actual mistress, Eva Braun, entirely hidden from the German public, a political vacuum existed at the top of Nazi high society. Emmy eagerly stepped into it, becoming the undisputed female figurehead of the regime. She demanded her staff address her as High Lady and used her social influence to legitimize a criminal government. By hosting lavish state dinners and appearing at high-profile theater premieres, she made a brutal, violent regime appear sophisticated, cultured, and normal. She was never a sheltered bystander. Emmy was an essential, active asset in the Nazi propaganda machine, providing a glamorous social cover that masked the state's extreme cruelty. This performance required the ultimate stage set. Hermann built his wife Karinhall, a monumental hunting estate in the forests northeast of Berlin. It was a surreal fantasy kingdom where guests were entertained by lion cubs padding freely through the salons. But the true horror of Karinhall hung on its walls. The estate featured a 34-meter grand gallery displaying over 1,300 museum-quality artworks. Every single painting had been stolen. The supply chain of this domestic luxury traced directly back to the extermination of European Jews. Hermann routinely visited the Jeux de Paume warehouse in Paris, hand-selecting masterpieces plundered from dispossessed Jewish families, as those same families were loaded onto deportation trains. Emmy walked past these stolen paintings every single day. She entertained guests beneath them and posed for official photographs with looted masterpieces clearly visible in the background. The theft extended directly to her physical body. She possessed the largest private wardrobe in Europe, and much of that haute couture was literally manufactured by enslaved labor working inside concentration camps. When your domestic wealth is built entirely on a war of extermination, failing to ask where your overflowing closets and museum-quality art came from is not innocence. It is an act of willful, calculated complicity. Emmy played the gracious queen flawlessly, but behind the glamour, she was highly vindictive. She understood exactly how to wield the state's lethal power against her personal enemies. Shortly after her lavish wedding, an opera singer made a casual, offhand joke to friends about Emmy's provincial theater days. The singer was swiftly denounced, beaten, and sentenced to 3 years in a penitentiary. Emmy, who chaired a state foundation specifically for theater artists, deliberately refused to intervene. But her supreme arrogance eventually made her an enemy she couldn't outmaneuver. Convinced of her own supremacy, Emmy openly despised Hitler's secret mistress, Eva Braun, publicly and repeatedly snubbing her at social gatherings. An enraged Hitler personally intervened, ordering Hermann to ensure his wife showed Eva respect. When Emmy stubbornly refused to yield, Hitler permanently banned her from his private mountain sanctuary, exiling her from the inner circle. Her downfall within the regime happened because she overplayed her hand in a deadly political game over social pride. It proves she was an active combatant in Nazi high society, not a naive observer. As the Third Reich disintegrated in April 1945, Hitler viewed a contingency telegram from Hermann as treason and ordered the execution of the entire Göring family. They survived the chaos only to be captured by the Americans. Hermann was sentenced to death at Nuremberg and swallowed a cyanide capsule hours before he was scheduled to hang. That left Emmy to face her own denazification trial in 1948. Despite the overwhelming evidence of her lifestyle, the tribunal delivered a deeply frustrating verdict. She was convicted merely as a Nazi activist and beneficiary of the regime, not as a war criminal. Her punishment was a minor confiscation of assets and time already served. The legal system simply failed to comprehend her specific brand of passive-aggressive complicity, leaving historians to debate how to judge a woman whose primary crime was thriving in the shadow of genocide. Her post-war reality was a staggering contrast to her former absolute power. The woman who once commanded a palace now lived in a cramped fifth-floor apartment in Munich without running water, spending years in court fighting for scraps of her husband's confiscated estate. She died in 1973, completely unrepentant. She published a memoir defending her husband's memory, maintaining her utter innocence until her final breath. Emmy Göring's life proves that extreme willful blindness requires constant, exhausting effort. Wearing the jewelry of murdered families and hosting state dinners beneath stolen art while claiming ignorance is not an excuse. It is the ultimate proof of guilt.